What happens when a Hollywood icon known for his unbreakable intensity clashes with a talk show host who never holds back? This explosive encounter between Tom Cruise and Whoopi Goldberg on The View didn't just make headlines, it redefined the boundaries of live TV. Buckle up, because what unfolded that day in the studio left everyone speechless. But nobody could have predicted the shocking twist that would turn the tables completely. Stick around to see how it all went down. It was a crisp autumn morning in New York City, September 2025, and the set of The View buzzed with the usual electric energy. The audience, a mix of excited fans clutching coffee cups and smartphones, settled into their seats under the bright studio lights. Laughter echoed as the co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Alyssa Farah Griffin, chatted casually about the week's headlines. Today's guest? None other than Tom Cruise, there to promote his latest blockbuster, Mission Impossible: Reckoning, a high-octane thriller packed with death-defying stunts that only Cruise could pull off at 63. As the theme music swelled and the cameras rolled, Whoopi flashed her signature grin, welcoming Tom with a warm hug that drew cheers from the crowd. Tom Cruise, ladies and gentlemen. The man who defies gravity and makes us all believe in the impossible. Welcome back to The View. Tom, dressed in a sharp navy suit that accentuated his athletic build, waved to the audience with that megawatt smile, his eyes sparkling with the charisma that had captivated Hollywood for decades. He settled onto the couch, exchanging light banter with Sarah about his infamous couch-jumping moment from years ago. "Hey, I still got the energy," Tom quipped, earning a chuckle from the panel. The atmosphere was friendly, almost familial, until Whoopi leaned in with her first question. But wait, what was that subtle shift in Whoopi's tone? A hint of edge that made the audience lean forward just a bit. Keep watching, because this seemingly innocent interview was about to take a dark turn that no one saw coming. "So, Tom," Whoopi began, her voice casual but probing, "you're out here promoting another Mission Impossible film. Explosions, chases, you hanging off planes, it's all thrilling. But in a world full of real crises, climate change, social injustice, do you ever feel like these escapist movies are just distracting people from what's really important?" The question landed like a gentle jab, but Tom's response was diplomatic, as always. "Whoopi, I love what I do because entertainment brings people together. It inspires them, gives them hope. And hey, I've always supported causes close to my heart." The audience nodded approvingly, a few clapping softly. Sarah jumped in with a smile, trying to keep things light. "Absolutely, Tom, your work with literacy programs and disaster relief is incredible." But Whoopi wasn't done. She tilted her head, her expression turning more pointed. "Sure, but let's be real. You've got this platform, this massive influence. Why not use it for more direct activism? Instead of jumping out of helicopters, why not jump into the fight against inequality?" The studio fell into a brief, uneasy silence. Tom's smile faltered for a split second. "Did you catch that?" A flicker of surprise in his eyes. He leaned forward, his voice steady. "Whoopi, I respect your work tremendously. You've been a voice for change for years. But film is my way of making an impact. It reaches billions, sparks conversations." The tension was building, subtle but palpable. The audience shifted in their seats, sensing the undercurrent. Sunny Hostin glanced at Sarah, her eyes wide with that "oh" look, but no one intervened yet. And just when you thought it might smooth over, Whoopi dropped a bombshell that changed everything. "But before we get there, tell me in the comments, do you think celebrities owe us activism, or is entertainment enough? Hit that like button if you're hooked already." As the segment progressed, the cameras captured every nuance: the hum of the overhead lights, the faint click of audience members adjusting their phones to record. Tom's posture remained confident, but his fingers tapped lightly on his knee, a small tell of growing frustration. Whoopi pressed on, her tone sharpening like a blade. "Come on, Tom. We've seen you go all out for Scientology, pouring energy into that. But when it comes to broader issues, like the ones affecting everyday people, it's crickets. Is it hypocrisy, or just selective passion?" The word hypocrisy hung in the air like smoke, and the audience gasped audibly. A few murmurs rippled through the crowd. One woman in the front row covered her mouth in shock. Tom's eyes narrowed, but he kept his cool, drawing on that famous discipline from years of intense roles. Whoopi, my beliefs are personal, and I don't shove them down anyone's throat. But let's not pretend entertainment doesn't matter. Movies like mine employ thousands, boost economies, and yes, they escape, but escape can heal. Sarah tried to interject with a nervous laugh. Okay, folks, let's remember we're all on the same side here. It was a small, humanizing moment, her awkward grin cutting through the rising heat like a brief breeze. The audience chuckled uneasily, appreciating the levity, but the damage was done. Whoopi's eyes gleamed with challenge, as if she'd hooked her prey. Suddenly, an unexpected detail emerged. Whoopi pulled out a printed article from under her notes, waving it subtly. I read this piece about how your films glorify individualism over community. In today's divided world, doesn't that send the wrong message? Tom's jaw tightened, a visible clench that made the producers in the control room exchange panicked glances. The camera operators zoomed in instinctively, capturing the raw emotion. And right there, in that charged pause, Tom dropped a revelation of his own that stunned the panel. But hold on, what was it? You won't believe how this escalates next. If you're loving this drama, smash that subscribe button now. We drop stories like this every week, and you don't want to miss the next bombshell. The studio air thickened, the once cheerful vibe now laced with anticipation. Audience members whispered to each other, phones held high, ready to capture whatever came next. Sonny leaned over to Whoopi, whispering something inaudible, but Whoopi brushed it off with a wave. Tom's voice, when he spoke again, carried a quiet intensity that commanded the room. That article? It's cherry-picked. But let's talk real impact. I've quietly funded community programs for years, things that don't make headlines because they're not flashy. The revelation landed like a mic drop. A few audience members applauded, while others looked skeptical. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. Was that genuine surprise, or part of her strategy? But she recovered quickly, leaning in closer. Quietly? Tom, with your star power, why hide it? Sounds like an excuse to stay in your bubble, while the rest of us fight in the trenches. The accusation stung, and Tom's face flushed slightly, a rare crack in his armor. He paused, taking a deep breath, his hands now clasped tightly. The audience held its collective breath, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the AC. Alyssa, sensing the storm, tried to pivot. Tom, tell us more about those programs. Sounds inspiring. Her voice was bright, almost pleading, adding a touch of warmth to the chill. Yet, the hook was set deeper. In that moment, Tom revealed a personal story no one expected, a quiet anecdote about a fan whose life was changed by one of his films during a tough time. It's not about me, he said softly, his voice trembling just a hint. It's about them. The emotional turn hit hard. Tears welled in a few audience eyes. But Whoopi wasn't backing down. She countered with a sharp retort that pushed Tom to his limit. What did she say that finally broke the camel's back? Keep reading. This is about to explode in ways you can't imagine. And hey, if this has you on the edge of your seat, drop a comment below. Would you defend your passion like Tom, or call it out like Whoopi? As the commercial break loomed, the producers signaled frantically from offstage, but the live feed rolled on. Tom's eyes locked with Whoopi's, a silent battle of wills. The audience, divided now, some nodding in agreement with Whoopi, others cheering Tom's vulnerability, created a cacophony of reactions. Then came the twist. Whoopi referenced an old interview clip, projecting it on the screen behind them. It was Tom from 2005, exuberant and passionate, but she twisted it to question his authenticity. Today. See? Back then you had fire. Now, it's all stunts and silence on real issues. Tom's response was measured, but his voice rose. Whoopi, that's low. Twisting my past to fit your narrative? I've evolved like we all do. The studio erupted in mixed applause and boos, a chaotic symphony. Sarah's face paled, her attempt at humor falling flat. Well, this is why we love live TV, keeps us on our toes. The light moment elicited a few laughs, humanizing the chaos, but the tension snapped back like a rubber band. And just as the break hit, Tom uttered words that hinted at his breaking point. "If this is how you treat guests, maybe it's time for a reality check?" The screen faded to ads, but the audience buzzed. What happens when they return? Will Tom walk out, or deliver a speech that changes everything? Don't go anywhere. This confrontation is far from over. If you're gripped by this, subscribe right now for more unfiltered Hollywood drama. We've got parts 2 and 3 coming up, packed with even bigger shocks. The commercial break ended, and the studio lights flared back to life, casting a stark glow over the view set. The audience, still buzzing from the heated exchange between Tom Cruise and Whoopi Goldberg, clutched their phones, ready to capture the next chapter of this televised showdown. The cameras panned across the panel, Sarah Haynes fidgeting with her notes, Sunny Hostin exchanging a wary glance with Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Whoopi, unfazed, adjusting her glasses with a sly smile. Tom sat upright, his jaw set, that signature intensity radiating from him like heat. The air crackled with anticipation. Had Tom's parting shot before the break, his cryptic call for a reality check, set the stage for an all-out war? Or would he take the high road? One thing was certain, this moment was about to go viral. But what Tom did next? It shocked even the producers scrambling in the control room. Stick around, because this is where things get wild. As the theme music faded, Whoopi leaned back in her chair, her voice dripping with calculated calm. "Welcome back, folks! We're here with Tom Cruise, and let's just say things got spicy before the break." The audience chuckled nervously, a few clapping in support of her boldness. She turned to Tom, her eyes glinting. "So, Tom, you said we need a reality check? Care to elaborate, or are you just gonna dodge like you do in your movies?" The jab landed hard, and the crowd gasped, a mix of shock and delight rippling through the rows. A woman in the back whispered to her friend, her phone already recording. Tom's smile was tight, his fingers now still on his knee, a sign of steely control. "Whoopi, I don't dodge. I face things head on. Always have. But let's talk about your reality check, using this platform to twist someone's life for clicks and ratings." His voice was low, deliberate, each word cutting through the studio's hum. The audience fell silent, the weight of his words sinking in. Sarah tried to jump in, her voice shaky but warm. "Okay, Tom, we love your passion. Maybe we can talk about the new movie?" It was a desperate pivot, her smile almost pleading, adding a fleeting human touch to the escalating drama. But Whoopi wasn't having it. What she said next pushed Tom closer to the edge than anyone expected. "Drop a comment. Are you Team Tom or Team Whoopi right now? Let's hear it." The cameras zoomed in, capturing the faint bead of sweat on Tom's temple, the way his eyes locked onto Whoopi's. She leaned forward undeterred. "Twist? Oh, please. I'm just asking what everyone's thinking. You're a global icon, Tom, but you pick and choose your battles. Scientology gets your full energy, but when it comes to the big fights, poverty, systemic inequality, you're AWOL. Why hide behind stunts instead of standing up?" The accusation was a grenade, and the studio erupted in murmurs. A man in the front row shook his head, muttering, "That's too far." Sunny Hostin shifted uncomfortably, her pen tapping rapidly on the table, while Alyssa whispered something to a producer offstage. Tom's face hardened, but his voice stayed calm, almost dangerously so. "You want to talk battles? I've fought for stories that matter, films that inspire, that show resilience. And off-screen, I've funded schools, shelters, things you won't see in tabloids because I don't do it for applause." The revelation hit like a wave. A few audience members clapped, others exchanged skeptical glances. Then came the twist. Tom pulled out a small, worn notebook from his jacket pocket, holding it up briefly. "This? Letters from people who said my work gave them hope. That's my fight." The crowd gasped softly, drawn into his vulnerability. Whoopi's eyes narrowed. Was she rattled? But before anyone could process it, she fired back with a question that turned the room ice cold. "What was it?" "You'll need to keep reading, this one's a game changer. And if you're hooked, hit that subscribe button. We're dropping stories like this every week, and you don't want to miss what's next. The Notebook moment lingered, its emotional weight pulling the audience in. A woman in the crowd wiped her eyes, moved by Tom's sincerity, while others whispered, debating his authenticity. Whoopi, sensing the shift, doubled down. Letters are sweet, Tom, but they don't change systems. You've got power most people dream of. Why not use it to call out the real villains, corporations, governments, instead of playing hero in fiction? Her tone was sharp, almost mocking, and the audience split further, some booing, others nodding. The control room was chaos, producers barking orders, one yelling, "Get a close-up on Tom!" The cameras caught every detail, the faint tremble in Tom's hand as he set the notebook down, the way his shoulders squared like he was prepping for a stunt. Tom leaned forward, his voice rising for the first time. "You think I don't care? I've seen what division does, people tearing each other down instead of building up. My films bring people together, not apart. What's your show doing, Whoopi? Pitting people against each other for ratings?" The crowd roared, a mix of cheers and gasps. Sunny finally spoke up, her voice firm but kind. "Let's take a breath, everyone. Tom, your heart's clear, and Whoopi, you're asking tough questions we all think about." Her attempt to bridge the gap was earnest, grounding the moment in humanity, but it couldn't stop the freight train of tension. Then came the bombshell. Whoopi, with a dramatic flourish, pulled up a tweet on the screen behind them, a fan's post from that morning, accusing Tom of dodging real issues while promoting his film. "This is what people are saying, Tom. You can't ignore it." The tweet was a low blow, amplifying the public's voice to corner him. Tom's eyes flashed with something raw, anger, hurt, or both. He stood slowly, the creak of his chair echoing in the stunned silence. "You want to play that game?" he said, his voice a low growl. The audience froze, phones raised. Was he about to walk out? Or deliver a speech that would go down in history? Don't look away. This is the moment everything changes. Tell me in the comments, would you stand up like Tom, or call him out like Whoopi? And subscribe now for part 3. This showdown's about to hit its peak. The studio was a pressure cooker. The hum of the cameras, the faint clatter of a dropped pen from Alyssa's hand, the audience's bated breath, all amplified the drama. Tom's stance, feet planted, eyes burning, made him look like Ethan Hunt facing a villain, not a talk show host. Whoopi, for the first time, seemed to hesitate, her fingers tightening around her note cards. The producers, visible through the glass booth, were in full panic, one gesturing wildly to cut to commercial. But the live feed rolled on, and Tom's next words were a spark to the powder keg. What did he say that left the panel speechless? "You're not ready for this twist. Stick with us, and if you're loving this drama, smash that subscribe button. We've got more Hollywood clashes coming your way." The studio lights blazed, amplifying the tension on the view. The audience, phones raised, watched Tom Cruise face off against Whoopi Goldberg, her tweet accusing him of dodging real issues, blowing behind them. Tom stood tall, his intensity palpable. Producers signaled to cut to commercial, but the live feed rolled on. Would Tom walk out or deliver a game-changing speech? Keep reading, this climax is unreal. Tom's voice cut through the silence. "Whoopi, you're using my life for drama. That tweet? One voice you amplified to tear me down. I build people up, through stories, quiet work you'll never see." The audience erupted, some cheering, others gasping. Whoopi's smile faltered. Sunny Hostin tried to mediate. "You're both icons, any common ground?" Her warmth couldn't stop the clash. Whoopi's next move stunned everyone. Comment, Team Tom or Whoopi? Whoopi leaned in. "I'm asking what people want answered, Tom. You're a hero on screen, but we need real heroes. Your notebook's sweet, but it's not enough." The crowd split, boos and cheers clashed. Then, she softened. "I've admired you, but I'm disappointed." The humanizing twist shifted the mood. But Tom's response? It broke the internet. "Subscribe now." Tom stepped forward, addressing the world. "I believe stories heal, unite, inspire. You call that hiding? I won't let you twist my work. This stage should lift us up. The studio fell silent, some wiping tears. Then, he set his microphone down with a clink and walked off. Gasps echoed. Sarah's jaw dropped. Was this a power move? Comment below. Chaos erupted, cheers, boos, phones recording. Sarah laughed nervously. That's live TV! Clips went viral, hashtag Tom vs. Whoopi trending worldwide. Whoopi, defiant, said, That's real questions. Debates rage. Was Tom's exit dignity or avoidance? The lesson, stories matter, but respect does too. Who crossed the line? Share your thoughts, and subscribe.